Hello, I'm Jimi Allen, and this is my wife Kate, and this is episode 2 of T-6. T-6 is the countdown to opening of Gravity Building. In the first episode, you saw how the tool would be used, how you can become part of that, how you can leverage that tool. But we thought we would run through sort of where we've been to get to this point now.
And why we want to open Gravity.
Yeah, and why we want to open it. So we've got 4 quick questions we want to run through, and the first one is, the building construction has taken 6 years. What was life like prior to this 6 years of construction? And not just construction, but process, the financing, all of those things. What was life like prior to that?
More construction, because 10 years ago you bought this house, and it was at the height of the market, 2006. Mm-hmm. Great bones, but the inside needed a lot of more than just TLC. So you ended up gutting it and taking it down to the studs, replacing all the systems in the house, and really with the hope that this would be a place where we could have our family and do life with our neighbors.
Yeah, I remember one February, we were standing outside right here behind us, talking about the wall that was here, and this was the side of the house.
Side porch.
So this was a completely new room added to the house, which taught us a lot. Our good friend Jeremy Elzerman basically taught me how to build an addition. But the whole house, was a serious process of construction. There were so many things to learn here. Everything from, can you afford that? How can you do it differently? To just be patient. We'll get to that. It'll happen.
Or where can I find the right person that knows how to do it? And then you're working alongside him, learning that. So it's 6 years of that, but then it overlapped really because in 2011 we bought the building.
Right.
And the same process started over again with looking at the bones of the structure, figuring out what it needs.
Right. I think I remember a moment of literally packing tools up here and putting them in the van and taking them to the building and literally starting to work. That there was no pause. It just was one to the other, which was good. And the beginning of the building project was not easy, because what that was essentially demo for basically for 2 years of just demoing out, walls and piping, and then we sandblasted it, and then we rebuilt the front elevation of the building, put new windows and doors in, and then moved into the design phase. And then we had a design phase 2. And then we spent, in the final stages of the design phase, a couple of years, or basically a year and a half designing, and now we're in 6 months away from opening. So it's been a process. But so why? And what was growing up for us like, and why are we doing this? Why has this been our, now what is very becoming very obvious has been a lot of our life's work. We might have some more up our sleeve, but I think this has been a big chunk of it.
Well, we definitely grew up at opposite ends of the globe. I grew up in Bolivia, South America. My father was a missionary pastor in a rural mountain community. Really a farming valley, so not a neighborhood at all like where we live now. And I love it because when we moved here and had neighbors and kids, now we have 2 children, so it's been a whole different experience to experience kids growing up with other kids,
community,
just
like
doing life
knit
with neighbors that we could get to know and have block parties. I didn't grow up with any of that, so it's been a nice, refreshing thing to learn how to be a neighbor. Yeah,
to be a neighbor. And for me, growing up, I grew up in subsidized housing, which is kind of in some ways a lot like how you grew up, but on the other side of the spectrum. And a lot of single families. I grew up with a single mom, so my sister and I, we're home after school for a couple hours while mom was still at work, and it was just a different type of community, a different way of learning about life and things, and it definitely shaped my desire to want to create an environment that would be different for our children, David and Grace, and but I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade any of that because it's also made me very aware of the community around our building, and for people who are marginal, maybe and we were definitely marginal. I would describe my neighborhood that way. Like, it was away from everything. It was very isolated, and there are communities around here like that, and we even have a new mayor the most exciting connection I think I have with him is he grew up in subsidized housing. I hope we connect on that. But yeah, there's something that kind of growing up does to drive you to want to do things. So I think both of us have a drive for community. We have a drive for seeing people connect in really significant ways. So the second question is, what did you learn while you were building this house, and what did it do for relationships? For me, it was guys that were coming over and helping me load things into a dumpster or
get a bathtub out the window.
Right. We had a lot of things we did here. We had some interns live here for a period of time, and I know Jim Weiland helped me out infinitely, with just wisdom about how to do something or guidance, and so many people. So much of what you learn through application, and that's what this, for me, that's what this was.
And you learned all the trades. I mean, plumbing, electrical, carpentry. You had people helping on all of those different trades, and you were working right alongside them, and that translates now to what you're doing at the building. And I think both of us learned patience, because 6 years working on a house, you can't wait for it to be done, but you want to do it right.
Yeah, no shortcuts.
So you just gotta stick in there and get it done. But then when it's done, it's very exciting. So now we're less than 6 months away, and it's getting exciting about gravity building.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited. We're 6 months out, and it's summer, so it's not
makes it a lot easier.
Not another winter. Wow, building through winter is one of the toughest things to do. So the final thing that we wanted to talk about was the idea that we have a mission statement that we think a lot about and we talk a lot about, but it's that Gravity builds community through entrepreneurship. And being an entrepreneur, I think the first time, I remember my dad called me an entrepreneur when I was 10 and introduced me to this big word that has stuck with me my whole life. And I think everybody's an entrepreneur. I mean, in some sense, you're trying to take whatever it is that you have at your disposal within your means to grow it or to get recognition for it.
Or make something new out of it.
Right. So, I mean, there's different levels, and I think, though, our clients, our Bureau of Gravity clients, are true entrepreneurs in the sense that they have these established businesses. They want to grow them. They want their communications and their marketing and their media all to be handled and managed by someone so that they can be great entrepreneurs. And what we do is just facilitate to take some of that stuff off their plate, and they don't have to worry about it. But I think the entrepreneurship side of the Gravity building is going to go much further than where it is now with our current client base, because it's about community.
Well, and that's the word I like in the phrase Gravity builds communities through entrepreneurship. Yes, it's easy to talk about the business side of it. We've got this great building. It's going to be super easy to do business in that building. You'll have all the resources you need. But for me, the communities that we hope will grow there is what's exciting, because it's all different kinds of communities. Yes, we want to grow the business community. Downtown Aurora, we want to see that economic scene flourish from what we're doing at the Gravity building, but it can be any other number of communities, family communities, church groups, community dinners,
yoga
lessons.
Right.
Really, whatever our community can imagine, that's what we want the Gravity building to be a tool for. And that's why we want to do it, because we want to celebrate life and have life happening within the building and be encouraging to people and growing their ideas.
Right. And to the point of everything we've talked about, and to do it well and set set the best possible standard that we can for how others can do it, to be encouraging to other couples, other small businesses, and say, look, it's possible. It's going to take time. Nothing happens overnight. I don't even know where that comes from. It seems like we're in a period of time right now where everything has this sense of immediacy, and there's always a right and there's always a wrong, and there's no gray area, or hey, I have to look at that and think about it. How might I approach that? That sense of, I think, authenticity about community development is something that I feel extremely passionate about. I mean, I want that to be the mainstay of what Gravity Building is really about, and I want that to be something that people come from far and wide to hear us talk about, and Lord willing, we're successful, so they will want to do that. But yeah, it is all about community, and it's about building it, and it's about small businesses, people making a living and getting home on time and eating dinner with their families, and just having the balance that life will not afford you if it isn't aspired to or worked for. So
patient expectation.
Yes.
Is that's the mode we're in, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've been patient for so long, but now we're expecting, and we're hopefully looking forward to opening day, less than 6 months away.
Right.
So
yeah, so we'd like to thank you for watching episode 2 of T-6. Episode 3 is next week, and if you want to look back at episode 1, it is really how the tool will be used, and if you see any value in that, please give us a call and we can connect. Thanks for watching.